How's it going? Today I'm talking about why am I not getting faster?
This is Running to the Castle, a podcast for injury-prone RunDisney runners on a journey to running magical miles. Join me, Dr. Allie, as I share the secrets I've gathered as a runner, doctor of physical therapy, and coach. You'll learn the exact ways I get my clients to the castle strong without feeling broken or held together with KT tape as they cross the finish line.
This is one of the most common questions I get. This or some semblance of it, of I just can't get faster. How do I get faster? Why am I not getting faster? And most recently, I got a question saying, I'm using your marathon training plan. I'm training for a marathon. And I've been following all of it. I've been doing the speed workouts since December, and I'm not getting faster. I'm worried that my slow pace is it. And this is how it's going to be. This is completely valid, completely relevant. You are not alone if you are experiencing this, where you have been trying something for weeks, months, heck, years, and you're not seeing the results. So today I'm going to go through my thought process of when I get this question, where my mind starts going, and I will give you recommendations that I've given to my clients in Stronger, Faster, Finisher. You take that information and adjust it for you. I want you to have success. Can I help you through this podcast? Can I help you with my free training plans, with my email series, with my Instagram? Absolutely. It can 100% help, and that is why I do all of these things. I can't give special personalized advice because honestly, hearing just the one question, like, why am I not getting faster? And this isn't actually what the person was asking me. Like, she wasn't asking for the advice. I don't think. That's not how I read it anyway. But let's say she was. I can't give advice with just this one question. There is so much background information that I need to know. And it would be inappropriate of me to just blanket statement tell somebody, well, you're not getting faster because of X. Well, maybe for them, they're not getting faster because of Y. I mean, that's why I have my whole finisher framework, right? Because there are 6 major categories to make up a successful running journey. And actually, I have stepped out just of the bubble just a smidge too far, but let's go with it and I'll come back to the speed work, right? Like, if somebody tells me like, oh, why can't I cross the finish line? Well, it could be they're not strong enough. It could be they're not fast enough. It could be they're wearing the wrong shoes for them. It could be they're not stretching enough. It could be they're taking too many rest days. It could be they're not taking enough rest days. It could be that they don't have the right recovery routine for them. It could be they're not hydrating enough. It could be that they're not fueling enough. It could be that they're fueling with the wrong thing for their body. How many things did I just list off? Right? And that's why I have the finisher framework, right? We have things that build you and things that support that build, right? In order to actually make progress and get better, get stronger, get faster, run farther, you need to build, right? We need to build and progress. So I call that the build side of the equation. That includes strength. That includes training, which is running, cross training, cardiovascular training. And then we have the things that support your body. That's your rest and recovery, your stretching, your mobility, your shoes, the equipment that you're using, fueling, hydrating, the foods and drinks you're fueling and hydrating with. And each side of the equation has to balance out the other side in order for you to successfully cross the finish line without feeling broken. So I see all the time out there, somebody will say, oh, well, I just, I DNF'd, or I struggled across the finish line, like I barely finished. What can I do better? And you will see a slew of answers because the answer that each person gives is the one that worked for them. So, of course, they think that's the one that will work for everybody. From my professional background, that is not the case. And so I look at this bird's eye view, tell me everything. Like in Stronger, Faster, Finisher, spoiler alert, if you ever join the program, one of the first things you do is you answer a lot of questions for me. Like if you are in Stronger, Faster, Finisher right now, you are probably laughing and like, oh yeah, Allie, God, that was a lot. It's a lot. And I have pared it down. I only ask the things that I'm finding are relevant. And I actually tweak it each round to find out like what things do I need to add in, what things can I take away, what did I not really need right at the beginning, what can I wait until later. But I need all of that information because I need to know, well, what are you doing for strength training? Is that the thing that needs to be adjusted for you? What are you doing for training, especially long runs and especially pacing? We'll get to that in a second. Is that the thing that needs to be changed? Or maybe what does your rest and recovery look like? Does that part of it need to be changed? What is your stretching and mobility routine? When are you doing it? How much are you doing it? How long are you holding it for? How many days a week are you doing it? Are you still warm when you're doing it? Or have you waited until bedtime and so now you're cold? Is it fueling and hydration? Is it how much you're fueling and hydrating? Is it when you're fueling and hydrating? Is it what you're fueling and hydrating with? Is it the shoes and equipment? Like if you're still having pain, like IT band pain, and you're foam rolling a ton, is it how, like the type of foam roller you're using, right? Because that actually plays a role. Because I don't know if you know this, but there are soft and firm, there are different densities of these foam rollers. Or maybe it's you go get a professional massage and they really dig in. Well, did you know that some people, when you dig in on their IT band or their muscle, they actually get rebound pain because their body reacts differently? And so they actually need light and gentle massage, and that more is not always better. Maybe that's affecting it. And you're actually just really still in pain from how much pressure the massage therapist put on it. But another person might need that deep, deep tissue. So we start looking at all of these different things. Now let's bring this back to with where it comes into play with getting faster. Why am I not getting faster? Well, let's look at the training portion of the finisher framework. Training portion is cardiovascular training, the things to get you more fit in just like basic terms. That is your heart rate and your breathing, being able to recover faster. Really, that's what we're looking at when we're talking about how fit am I? It's how quickly does it take for your heart rate to go from its maximum amount back down to resting heart rate. The fitter you are, the faster that is. Of course, there are other aspects, heart rate variability that go into it, and a whole other bunch of things. But for this conversation, that is the simplest way to look at it. And people also look at VO2 max. We can't look at an accurate VO2 max unless we test it with that big mask, running on a treadmill, and with all the special equipment. Yes, your watch is going to try and predict your VO2 max and everything like that. It's not 100% accurate, so take it with a grain of salt. So when it comes to why am I not getting faster, in that training portion only of the build side of the finisher framework, I also have different things that I'm looking at. So things I'm starting to look at when somebody says, I just can't get faster. I'm starting to look at how long are their long runs, the routes that they're running. Are they outside? Are they on the treadmill? Are they on hills? How stressful is their life outside of running? How stressed were they when they went on the run? How far have they been running lately? How far did they go on their very first run? How much speed work are they doing? Are they doing any speed work? How fast are they going during that speed work? And I don't care about actual paces. I don't care. I don't care. During these workouts, What I look for is effort. However, for non-elite runners, it can be really hard to gauge how much effort you're putting in. And that's why I use paces as a guide of, okay, aim for this pace. Because most runners of all levels can look at a pace and be like, oh, that's really hard. And they already are in the mindset of, I got to sprint. Or, okay, that seems like crazy slow. So I'm just going to like bouncy walk kind of movement. And then that other one there, well, that's kind of in between. So I'm going to like run. Right. And so they start getting in this mindset of this is what I think that pace is going to be. So this is how I'm going to prep for it. And so they can actually anticipate the effort that they should be putting in without me having to say, this is, light effort, hard effort, Berg scale effort, 0 to 10, 0 to 200, or something like that, right? And then, of course, I don't like using heart rate as a means to gauge effort all the time because heart rate can be up or down for a variety of things. I mean, if you have a pacemaker, your heart is paced. I haven't had any clients who have let me know that they have a pacemaker, but that's going to be a factor, right? And so these are things that it's not even the whole list of things that I look at when we're talking about why am I not getting faster? I haven't even mentioned the fueling and hydration aspect of it. Because if there's no gas in the tank, the car doesn't go. If there's no carbs in Allie doesn't go. She's very sluggish and slow. She needs caffeine and carbs to get that engine going, right? Like I love caffeine and carbs. There's a reel I posted months ago and it was like, are you really not motivated to go for a run or did you just need some caffeine and carbs? Because that's what happens to me. If I feel like, I don't really want to go on this run today, okay, let's up the caffeine and carbs and reassess in 10 minutes, 20 minutes when it has started to kick in, right? And then finally, I say finally, but it's not the last thing I think of, but this is the one I'm going to talk about. And growing up, when you write a paper, you end the first paragraph with the thing that you're going to spend the most of the paper writing. So I'm doing that in this podcast episode. So finally, going to the paces that you are hitting, retroactively looking at them, not like, I got to hit this 8-minute per mile pace. It's looking back at it. What paces have you been hitting? Because that tells me a lot. Not, going back. I don't care what the actual number is. I compare the numbers to each other. I'm not comparing those numbers to somebody else who is also in corral C, D, E, F, or G. So we do talk paces, but I compare them to each other. Like I compare easy run, like you just did a 5-mile run that was supposed to be an easy long run. What pace was that? And I compare it to your progression run and what pace you were running on the progression run. Retroactively. I do it after the fact. These are firm, solid numbers. And I recommend run with purpose. Run with purpose. Every single pace has a purpose. Every single run has a purpose. If you don't know what the purpose of this run is, you're probably running in the gray zone, and the gray zone is not going to get you faster. If everything is practically the same pace, you are not going to get faster. You have to have pretty much polar opposite paces. They have to be different. Your easy pace has to be different than your hard pace. The way you find your paces to get a gauge of what you should be aiming for is you do a pace test. And I recommend you warm up for 10 minutes, you test your moderate pace for 5 minutes, you test your hard pace for 1 minute, and you test your easy pace for 10 minutes, and then you do a cool down. And you rest and recover in between those so that you are completely recovered between each test. So you have, a fresh start, so to speak. And I go over this in depth with my Stronger, Faster Finisher clients, and I am learning how helpful it is. In the beginning, I did it for my own purposes. So I knew what I should be aiming for when I go out on my different runs, my easy run, my progression run, as opposed to just willy-nilly, okay, today's a progression run. I guess I'll start at 4.0 miles per hour and then just go up from there. Well, if 4.0 is my easy pace and I start from there and I progress up to 5.0, because that's a good progression, right? That's a whole mile per hour longer. It's a 10% increase. If I'm doing, up one, or up 0.1, up 0.1, that's 10% each time. I do that 10 times. That sounds like a solid workout to me. But what if my hard pace, or no, even better, what if my moderate pace is 5.5? I have never hit that moderate pace in the progression run. So how am I going to keep getting faster beyond that moderate pace, beyond that hard pace, if I'm not hitting it in a speed workout, right? The purpose of a speed workout like a progression run is to get faster. But if I'm staying in the window of what my body already can do, yes, I am progressing and getting faster, physically faster in the moment in the workout, but the overall purpose is to get faster beyond my upper limits. But if I'm never even hitting my upper limits, I'm not getting faster. I am staying within those limits. So now pace testing, I know that easy pace, let's call it 4.0 miles per hour, that one I can sustain and feel like I could do a 5-mile long run pretty much no problem. 10-mile long run, pretty much no problem. Finish the run, still be able to go about my day. Moderate pace, I test, that should be challenging. And I should be pushing enough that I can go a solid 5 minutes, but I really can't go more than that. Like, that should be real oomph. Hard pace, I should be sprinting so hard that I cannot do more than a minute. Because now we're testing our upper limits and down to our lower limits. Lower limits being the easy run pace. This is lower limit, something that I could sustain. Hard is upper limits. I am pushing so hard, I can't repeat this pace. I cannot sustain this pace for any more than 1 minute, let alone a 5K, okay? So that's what we're going for here. And so then we take those paces, I take those paces, put them into a program for my Stronger, Faster Finisher clients, and I say, okay, on your progression run as an example, you're starting at moderate. I don't want you to start at hard because that's already your upper limit, right? Like, we already know you can only do that pace for a minute. So why would I start there and have you do that for 30 seconds and then do one higher for 30 seconds and then one higher for 30 seconds? Of course, with run walk, there's a 30-30 split. So it's 30 seconds of running and then you do 30 seconds of walking and then you do a couple rounds and then you do 2 minutes of recovery and then you go again. But we can't start at the upper limit because then you're not going to be able to do 10 or 15 or however many rounds depending on how long your workout is, right? So we start at moderate, but we don't have to guess where to start because if I didn't test those paces, do I start at easy and just go up? Well, I could, and then I would find out after a 45-minute or a 60-minute progression run, I would find out that I didn't even get out of my range of what I can do now for this amount of time. And it wouldn't be quote unquote a wasted workout. You still would have a benefit from it, but you could also just take from my experience because I did that years ago. I did that. That's how I came up with these speed workouts and where we start because I did it. And I was like, oh, starting at easy, that doesn't make sense. I never even hit my limits. So then I figured out, well, where should I start? Let's start at moderate because with the number of rounds, we're going to start going up and up and up. And maybe we hit the hard, maybe we don't. And then you start coming back down. So then they are paces that you can do, but they're still difficult, right? So you could go and willy-nilly just randomly start at a pace. That is absolutely an option. You won't get faster that way because it's going to take you a month to figure out which pace you need to actually start at. And again, it's not necessarily wasted. However, it's inefficient. It's not that effective. You could have that whole month back by doing it this way. Or another way, if you don't like my speed workouts, if you don't like how I'm proposing you do things, go find a coach who proposes things the way that sound good and work for you. Absolutely. Mine are not, it's not the only way. But the way you should do it is with structure and not just guessing, because guessing will eventually get you there. It's not the fastest way. It's not the most effective or efficient way. Okay. And so we need to be looking at that. What paces are you actually running compared to each other? Like compared to pace 1, compared to pace 2, compared to pace 3 for the different runs. And each run has a purpose. If you don't know the purpose, you're going to run in the gray zone. Speed workouts, purpose, get faster. That's why it's called a speed workout. You're there to improve speed. You are there to get faster. Long run purpose, build time on your feet, also known as endurance. Build endurance so you can be on your feet. You can go the distance. Be Hercules. Go the distance. Be able to run for 6 or 7 hours at a time if you're doing the marathon, or 8 hours if the marathon's going to take you 8 hours, right? Be on your feet for 4 hours if the half marathon is going to take you 4 hours. But we're not trying to get faster during training on that long run. The purpose of that run is not getting faster. It's being up on our feet for more time. Speed workout is being on our feet fast for a short amount of time. Run with purpose. What is the purpose of this run? Is it speed or is it long run? Okay. Another reason runners are going to feel like they aren't getting faster is they're not testing it. They're not testing it. This particular question, this particular runner that prompted me to think about making this podcast episode, I asked, what are you using to gauge that you're not getting faster? And I ask that because 99% of the runners, the answer will be something along the lines of, well, it doesn't feel like I'm getting faster. I just don't feel like it's easier. I don't feel like it's faster. Like my average pace for my long run isn't getting faster. So do not compare run to run when you want to get faster. You need to compare pace test to pace test or race to race. If your two races have significant time in between them. So when we're talking checking pace using races, I recommend at least 3 months in between for a half marathon and like a year between for a full marathon, 6 months to a year. But my personal opinion is 1 marathon a year for slow back of the pack runners. I haven't done a marathon yet. However, future, right? I would not do more than 1 marathon a year because of how stressful it is on your body. But if you're going to use a marathon, make sure there's at least 6 months in between when we're comparing marathon to marathon. It also needs to be pretty much the same race. It needs to be the same elevation, same temperature. Everything else needs to be the same. You can't be sick, right? And half marathon, at least 3 months in between to see progress. I've talked about making sure there's enough time in between what you're doing from when you start to when you check it again, that there's enough time for physiologically the effect you're looking for to have happened. So speed for a half marathon, it's about 3 months. 10K, also about 3 months. 5K, if you're a seasoned 5K runner, it could be faster, maybe about 6 to 8 weeks. Marathon, the longer the distance of the race, the slower you go, and also the more time you need in between races to compare times. And again, those comparisons, it needs to be everything else is the same. It's the same route. It's the same temperature. It's you fueled with the same thing. You wore the same thing. Like, there's a reason professional athletes have superstitions because something worked in the past. So they keep doing it over and over and over again. They don't change a damn thing. Now, there's a healthy version of that and a not healthy version of that. I want you to have the healthy version of that and just make sure you're only changing one variable at a time. And in this case, it would be you go faster. Or you could do pace testing. And I recommend pace testing every 6 to 8 weeks. The first time you pace test, you can get on most slow runners, 13 plus minute per mile paces. The first time they do my pace testing and follow my speed workouts, they get about 1 minute per mile faster in the first 30 days on at least one of those paces. And I even saw it race to race. And those, you know what, saying this, those were not the same path, same route, but we also looked at other symptoms where the runner didn't have pain, didn't feel like they were struggling as much in the second race, but from Disneyland 10K to Princess Weekend 10K, miles 3, 4, and 5, 1 minute per mile faster. And she felt better. And it felt just like overall better. So that can happen. And that happens for runners the first time they do my pace testing and follow my protocol, I guess is the best way, my framework on how to get faster. So if you're using feelings to gauge whether you're getting faster, you're never going to be faster in your mind, in your body. Definitely don't look at long run to long run. Like each long run, I don't want you to have a different average pace. I want that pace to be the exact same every time. I want it to be the same every time. There's going to be, I shouldn't say exact same, because there's going to be some wiggle room if you're running outside, right? Like plus or minus 10%. If you're on the treadmill, it should be the damn same, right? Because you're just hitting a button. You're doing 4.0 miles per hour on that easy run, if that's your pace. And then you're hitting 3.0 for your walk interval. And the final average time should be the exact same every single week if you're on the treadmill. If you're outside, there's going to be variation because as slow back of the pack, not elite runners, we're not very good yet at knowing exactly what our body feels like during each pace. And that's okay, but it should be relatively close to being the same. So looking at long run to long run average pace, I don't want those to get faster. That's not the point of the long run, right? Run with purpose. The point of the long run is to add distance each week, to build time on your feet so that you can do the full race distance in the full amount of time that it's going to take you. And it feel fine because you've progressively added week over week. We don't change 2 variables at a time. That's a recipe for injury. So the long run pace should be the same every single time. The distance will change for the long run. The speed workouts, the time you're doing it for stays the same every single week. The pace can get faster. You can practice going, let's say you do a progression run every single week. One option, not everybody likes this option because you eventually hit a ceiling and it gets frustrating. So I don't do this in between pace testing. But one option is, let's say you do a progression run every week. You start 0.1 miles per hour faster every week. So week 1, you start at 4.0 and you increase by 0.1 for 10 rounds, as an example. The following week, you start at 4.1. Increase 10 rounds, as an example. The following week, week 3, you're starting at 4.2, and so on and so forth. But the time that you're doing that stays the same, 45 minutes, with a 10-minute warm-up, 10-minute cool-down. So actually 25 minutes of that speed workout. So the time stayed the same on the speed workout, but you got faster. So we changed one variable on the speed workout, and on the long run, we changed one variable, the distance, but your pace stayed the same. Because the purpose of the long run is to add more distance, build time on your feet. Purpose of the speed workout is to get faster. And so you practice the I keep talking about the progression run today. It's on my mind, I guess. But there's also 30-20-10. There's tempo runs, there's hill workouts, and then there's the progression run. Those are my 4 favorite for runners doing run walk intervals. And then after 6 or 8 weeks of doing that, you go and pace test again, the exact same way that you pace tested the first time. I do recommend on the treadmill, but you pace test again and you compare pace test 1 and pace test 2. That's how you look at if you're getting faster. Compare those numbers. Don't compare them week after week or run to run, because there are so many variety of factors. And when you're pace testing, I do recommend my clients ease up on some of their workouts. Like, don't do a big strength workout right before you're pace testing the day before or day of. Don't do it. Maybe even give yourself 2 days off from strength training before you pace test. Don't do the pace testing the day after a speed workout. Don't do a pace test the day after a workout. Give yourself a rest day. Don't do the pace test the day after a new long distance long run. Like, don't do it after 10 miles if 10 miles is new to you, because we want to give yourself the best chance at having accurate and fresh numbers. Right? And that's how you set it up for the first pace test. That's how you set it up for the second pace test and all following pace tests. So then the other variables are the same. And you check to see, okay, my moderate pace last time was 5.5. I'm just throwing numbers out there. I've been doing 5.5 on my tempo run for 6 weeks. I can do that easy for 5 minutes. I think I could do 5.9 this time or 5.6 this time. It doesn't have to be a big jump. And you use, what do I realistically think I could do for 5 minutes? Of course, with the run walk intervals. And then hard pace, I did 6.5. I've been doing 6.5 over and over again in the end of the progression run. That doesn't feel like I'm dying anymore. I could do that for more than a minute. So now I'm going to try 6.6 or I'm going to try 6.7 and you test it. So if you're not getting faster, there's a whole bunch of things to look at. One of them being, what are you using to gauge that you're not getting faster? If it's comparing long run average to long run average, that's not it. You need to compare pace test to pace test, and it needs to have 6 or so weeks in between pace testing. Pace testing is not a fun thing to do. I will not lie there. I had to tell one of my Stronger, Faster, Finisher clients that based on her numbers, I was like, I don't think these are accurate. So if we can look at the full data, you don't have to do it again. But if that full data is not there, you do need to do it again. I could just see on her face and everybody else's face that I could see on the screen. I was like, ooh, that advice was not loved. But that's okay. I mean, I don't like pace testing either. It's hard, but you can do hard things. And this is how you check to see if you're getting faster. We don't go based off of feelings, and we don't go based off of average run pace, long run to long run. I would like to help you get faster. So at the time of recording this, I am going to do a new workshop in 2 weeks to help you get faster. I don't have all the details yet because I really just thought of it as I was thinking up doing this podcast episode. So I don't have all the details yet. I will have a name and the details coming soon. So if you're not on my email list yet, get on my email list. Follow me on Instagram. Those both are places where you will hear information. But as of the time of recording this, which is March 4th, 2026, in the next 2 weeks, or 2 weeks from now, it will definitely not be next week. 2 weeks from now, I will have another workshop so that you can improve your pace. I'm specifically doing it in this time frame so that you can get in. If you are doing Springtime Surprise, it will work for Springtime Surprise. And if you are signed up for Wine and Dine or planning on signing up for the marathon weekend races, this will get you starting to be faster before that training ever begins. So if you want more information, go ahead and send me a DM, runDisney DPT, over on Instagram. And when the information is up and ready, I will be sure to share it with you. In the meantime, take information from this podcast episode and adjust your training. Please take what you've learned in this episode and use it to adjust your strategy for your RunDisney race training. It's not about doing more. It's about doing the right things in the right balance so you can finish strong, not broken. And if you want personalized guidance specific to your race, your injury history, your running background, and your goals, that's exactly what we do inside Stronger, Faster, Finisher. You'll get step-by-step instructions and a proven system to help you train smarter from start to finish. Join the waitlist today to be the first to know when it opens next. That's all for now. Talk to you soon.